This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations. Come for the craft beer, bourbon, whiskey, and great drinks. Stay for the conversations. Here's your host, Jonathan Green.
Welcome into another edition of the Bar Conversations, and it's a fun one because you know what? We're officially into spring. The calendar has turned, and hopefully some warmer weather is upon us for everyone. We got a great episode for you this week. We've got country artist Hayden Coffman. He's got a brand new single coming out. He's also on tour with Jacob Bryant, who we had on a couple of weeks back as well. It's a fun chat with him, a lot of fun getting to know him. And our tasting notes is with Jake Sulek as we're talking spring cocktails because spring is officially here, and he's got some good ones to share with you there. Don't forget to check out any of our past episodes and videos at hopspirits.com. And like I said, you can go to YouTube, Facebook, and find us on your favorite podcast player as well. But let's not waste any more time and let's get into the show.
It's almost time. Where did I put those? Here they are. It's time for tasting notes.
Joining us once again for a tasting notes is Jake Sulek, beverage director and partner with the Professors LLC. Sometimes I get a little tongue-tied and I haven't even had a drink yet, Jake.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
I appreciate it as always. You know, last time we had you on, we were talking cream liqueurs, but it's hopefully for everyone, it's warming up a little bit, and we're heading into what we consider the true time of year of spring. Now, with that said, obviously, we kind of move away from the winter cocktails, maybe the heartier cocktails, and are going away from that. Is that kind of what happens when, quote-unquote, the calendar turns to spring?
Yeah, absolutely. You get a lot of savory ingredients at the beginning of the season, so you start to get morel mushrooms, garlic, scallions. You start moving into savory ingredients. But you've also got elderflower, rose. You move into a season when green tea in particular is a great substitute. And then you also get a lot of fresh herbs. This is when your mint, basil, and rosemary cocktails really start taking off.
And so for those that are going out and might be looking at trying different things, what can they expect? Are we expecting more vodkas and gins and things like that? Or are we still expecting just those ingredients that you talked about mixed with their favorite pours?
It's a transition season, so you're going to get a little bit of both. For me in the spring, I still really enjoy, stirred gin drinks. So my first days out on the patio, I'm probably still going to be having a Negroni. But you're also pushing towards some of those brighter ingredients. So you're also moving into shaken drinks. Stuff like the whiskey smash is really appropriate for this season.
I always love a whiskey smash, and those are just absolutely wonderful. Or even a rum smash, too. I mean, I feel like you can go kind of both ways with that. But this is also a time of year where I feel like we're going out to, say, the farmer's market or the stand on the side of the road, the fresh produce stand. What should people be looking for there that they might be able to put into a cocktail?
Fresh herbs. Absolutely. Mint over the next couple of months is going to be amazing. Anything that you can find local, fresh, that all you need to do is just wash it up, and then you can put it straight into a drink. I mentioned the smash. One of the beauties of a smash is it's basically a citrus sour-based drink that can be smashed with anything. Classically, traditionally, back in the early 1800s, they would have used a lemon and actually chopped up a lemon into smaller pieces and put it into their tin and then crushed everything together. Nowadays, we can just juice the lemon, put some lemon juice in, put your whiskey, your sugar in, and then go ahead and hit it with a bunch of herbs. Classic whiskey smash will use mint, but you can use pretty much anything that you think is going to complement that base whiskey. Put it in the bottom of a tin, fill it up full of ice, shake it for 12, 15 seconds, and then strain it off, and you're going to get a cocktail that's really imbued with the flavors of whatever is going into that tin.
And then for those that are looking for maybe a recipe for just to enjoy on the back deck where they can make one or two servings, what's a good one on that way to give a try this time of year?
I really like Negronis pretty much year-round, but especially as the weather starts getting warm. But a great substitute is to make a drink that's called a spagliato. It's an Italian word meaning basically mistake. And probably fictitious legend about it is that somebody was trying to make a Negroni, and instead of grabbing a bottle of gin, they actually grabbed a bottle of champagne. So 2 of the 3 ingredients remain the same. You take a classic stirred Negroni, and you put in a part of sweet vermouth, and then you go ahead and put in a part of Campari. But instead of mixing in gin, you're just going to top it up with an ounce or two of a sparkling wine. Champagne's great if you've got an open bottle on hand, but even something as simple as Prosecco will work. You just drop half a wheel of orange or a lemon in there, and what you've got is a really fun, bittersweet drink, but the bubbles have carbonic acid in it, and what's it's actually going to do is that acidity is going to kind of cleanse your palate. So you're going to get this really herbaceous, bright, mouth-warming drink that you can sip all day on the patio.
Well, that sounds wonderful to me. And then, say you want to have a group gathering over, maybe you're cooking out because it's a beautiful day. What's maybe one that you can kind of go punch style or large serving style?
I like a classic lemonade base for anything out on the patio. So you want to take something like a whiskey sour or a gin sour. Or you can move into something a little bit different. You could go brandy, I think, is a good classic base. So take a brandy, maybe an apple brandy, for example. You mix in some lemon juice and a little bit of simple syrup. You kind of scale that up so that you can serve 8 to 10 out of a pitcher. You fill all of your glasses about half full with that, and then you just go ahead and top it up with sparkling water or some champagne. And you're going to be able to sip that kind of punch all day long. That
sounds wonderful, and I can't wait to actually enjoy that on a nice warm day with friends. Because I think I've been spoiled and tired of all the winter weather we have had here. And Jake, I appreciate you sharing some knowledge as always.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Remember to check out Hops and Spirits on social media at Hop Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find Hops and Spirits on YouTube and at hopspirits.com.
Joining us here on the Bar Conversations is country musician Hayden Coffman. Hayden, welcome in.
Thanks for having me, man. Glad to be here.
I appreciate it, and glad technology, we can get this thing to work. I have to talk to some folks to see what in the world's going on, because you would think by now it wouldn't be that. They'd be a little further along.
I'm a barbarian, dude. It was probably all my fault.
You're all good. As we were chatting beforehand, this is called Bar Conversations, part of Hops and Spirits, so you got to have something good to drink. Although last week I was talking to someone that wasn't 21 yet, so I had to be careful with that one. But I think you're over 21, so you got anything good tonight?
Yeah, I got a little Jack Daniels and Diet Coke, just a classic, what people inside my circle like to call a Kaufman. So
there you go.
On a Kaufman tonight.
I like it. I like it. I got a little Chattanooga whiskey from down Tennessee, a little cask 111, a little high proof there, and they make some good stuff down that way.
Are you in Chattanooga?
I am not in Chattanooga. I am actually, because I know you're in Knoxville. Well, you grew up in Knoxville.
Right.
I grew up I'm living in a place north of Knoxville that I think isn't frowned upon in Knoxville. So I'm in Lexington.
Man. Hey, at least the only thing is I see Chattanooga whiskey at a lot of the liquor stores. That's why I asked. But when I played in Chattanooga a couple weeks ago, they have I don't know if it was like a bar or not. It might have just been like a distillery, but you drive around and you can't drive 5 miles down there. Whoever's doing their marketing is killing it, because it's like Chattanooga whiskey. And we were going out one night and it looked like a bar, but it could have just been like a liquor store or a distillery, like I said. I didn't know if you were down there or not.
No, I actually haven't gotten to go there yet, because I've gotten to talk to them, and they kind of did some cool stuff, and man, they make their own things. And if you haven't had it yet, it's young. It's like 2-3-year-old whiskey, but it's damn good. Just absolutely wonderful. I don't know what you guys do down in Tennessee with whiskey, but I think you've got it right.
Yeah, Tennessee and Kentucky, that's one thing that I feel like everybody can get along with, is they like a little, as me and my manager call it, we like a little brown water. You gotta like it if you're around here.
Absolutely. And I know when we were trying to get things set up, I know your girlfriend's nearby. I saw the TikTok and Instagram video of hers. What's your response to her reenactment of your videos?
Honestly, if you want the true honest opinion, 100% spot on. I mean, she nailed it. The clothes were a little baggy, I'll give it to her, but she's a little skinnier than me, to say in the nicest way. But yeah, she killed it. What's funny about it is we saw a trend of somebody else doing that on TikTok, and that's all I do now is just with the music stuff. You have to push your stuff on TikTok, so we're on it all the time. And we see this. We wake up early one morning. I say early. It's early for us. It's like 8 or 9. It's not like 4 a.m. But it was early for us. And like we saw this thing. And we're like just chilling. And she's like, I can go do this right now and make fun of you. I'm like, hey, go do it. I was like, you won't drink a beer right now. She's like, watch me. So she goes straight to the fridge first, which is hilarious because she didn't have my fit on yet. And I'm like, well, hey, you gonna drink a beer? Or you gonna you gotta act like me here. You can't just go out here drinking beer in the middle of the day or middle of the morning. And so she goes and puts my clothes on, grabs a Coors Light, does the whole deal. We're dying laughing. My roommate's here, and then of course the first thing she has to say is, "Gosh, that was the best damn beer I've ever had." And I was like, you're kidding me right now. But no, it was great. People seem to really like it on the internet. We want to do a little series of like my whole band doing it, my manager, everybody just like making fun of Hayden doing his TikToks, but because that's all I do.
I love that. Gotta have fun. Gotta keep it loose. Because I was gonna ask you too. Because I see them, and you're either singing some of your songs because you're promoting. Got a new single coming out. Right. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Things like that. Do you ever get weird looks if you're just in some random place like the gas station recording these?
Dude, to be honest, I probably don't. But like when I'm about to have to do it, I am so cringed out. Like I'm like, oh my god, this is about to be cringy as hell. Like I don't want these people looking at me like. And Lex, my girlfriend, she'll make me do it. Like we played in Florida last weekend, and on the way down, real South Georgia. I think it's still Georgia. Yes, real South Georgia. There's a Buc-ee's. Have you ever heard of Buc-ee's?
Mm-hmm. We finally got some in Kentucky.
Yeah, so they're going everywhere. They're like a Texas-based thing, but now they're going like nationwide. Massive gas station. Well, of course, they have a little freaking statue Beaver out front. Beaver, I'm talking Justin Bieber, but no. Well, Beaver out front. I'm like, hey, we should do something with that. And then, of course, like right when I'm about to do this TikTok, it's like right in front of the door too. There's like 3 vans of just kids and like parents hop out. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like
you got an audience.
You to go viral. And I waited for a minute. Like Lex was like, well, if we're not going to do it, we just need to leave. Because I was just waiting so long. Like, no, we're good. And then I finally did it. But yeah, it's cringy, man. Like because like, nobody knows what you're doing, but at the same time, like I see people on TikTok all the time that give advice on it, and they're like, dude, you're never going to see these people again in your whole life. And so I was like, easy to say, but at the time, it's just really cringy, man.
It's better than just being at the park doing it, just randomly all day, every day. I mean, it's better than that. And
the old tweet set,
Well, I was going to say, I feel like, with all these videos, you just got to have a good sense of humor, too. I mean, now I'm not saying you're good at jokes, but I'm guessing you got a good sense of humor. I
try, man. I feel like I'm pretty easy to get along with, and I'm rarely, if you ask anybody that works with me or my buddies, I'm rarely serious 100% of the time. So, yeah, it definitely takes, I guess, that kind of attitude to do that all the time.
Well, and then, you also just got to share some of your life on there, too, because, I mean, that's kind of now the thing, but it's
right.
weird, too. What's it like to kind of do those things and also kind of get discovered a little bit through social media, because that's kind of, especially being an independent artist?
Man, I mean, I think that, like, the social media thing is awesome. I think it's really cool because, especially with TikTok, like a lot of guys, especially in the country world, I mean, in every world of genres and every musician, there's going to be all the haters of like, oh, I hate that, but like coming with the times, it's just like how the entire world it modernizes all the time is like, hey man, you got to do it. Like either way, like you like it or not, nobody cares if you like it, like the world's going to keep rolling, and so I think it's cool. It's also cool. Like for me personally, like last year I had a lot of stuff start blowing up. I'd already been doing it since like fall of 2018, but a lot of stuff started blowing up really last year on the internet just because of TikTok, and like that spiraled over to like a lot of other apps, even though I was doing well on other ones, but like YouTube blew up, Instagram's doing even better than it was. So I mean personally I really like it, and I think it's cool to like reach a different I guess you would call it like a different layer of people that you wouldn't have otherwise, because they don't have to be following you to see your stuff. That's the coolest part about it. So personally, I really enjoy it. And I don't get me wrong, it is a pain in the ass. I post 7 times a day. Like I was making them earlier, and like when we get off here, later tonight, I'll be making more TikToks. But like it's just worth it. I think it's fun. It's cool. But it's definitely a full-time if you're wanting to do it well. Unless you're already famous, then it's easy to go viral. But it's definitely a full-time job if not.
Well, you're doing it well. You got the songs coming out, people listening. I saw where you're talking about, the amount of listeners that keep growing, and that's awesome to see. For those that may not know your style of music, though, obviously country. I said it at the beginning, but how would you describe it, or maybe what style of country, or who it's similar to?
Yeah, man. I would definitely say, like, especially what I'm trying to go towards now is more of like a country rock kind of feel, like a high energy country rock, like Jason Aldean meets Luke Combs meets, getting in that Morgan Wallen feel, like that kind of deal. But I definitely wouldn't say it's like, and like a lot of old heads, that are out here like, oh, that ain't country. But like, I grew up on old country, and that's all my family listens to. And like, of course, my parents still listen to radio and all that, so they hear the modern stuff too. They like everything, and I like everything. But my personal style is definitely more like country rock, high energy country like that. Definitely more modern. Like, if you come to my show, like, it's definitely more of like, man, it was kind of rock, like the way my players play and my guitar players play and all that. So that's definitely the vibe.
I love that, and I feel like that style is, I don't want to say coming back, but now just being accepted. Like, it's just
Totally.
you got folks out there. I was talking to Tim Montana a couple weeks ago. Just loving that rock. Even Hardy, I think, put out a song the other day that was almost rock.
Dude, Hardy's not even on this podcast, y'all. If y'all like rock, go listen to Sold Out. It came out today. I think I've already given the dude like 20 streams on Spotify alone today.
So I mean, country rock is booming these days, and just thinking about you say you grew up listening to classic country, regular country, things like that. You grew up in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm guessing you bleed the orange and white down there.
I do, man. I do.
I won't hold that against you.
Are you a Lexington native?
I am not a Lexington native, so while I enjoy the blue and white of Kentucky, I'm actually blue and gold. I grew up in West Virginia.
Okay, that's not too far though, right?
My favorite was before we moved over here. We were driving because my wife has some family. We're driving through, and I think it was when U of L and Kentucky were playing in like the NCAA tournament, and like we stop at a random podunk gas station. They're like, "Who you rooting for? Who you rooting for?" And I'm like, "West Virginia." And they're like, We'll allow it. And I'm like, all right, I can't give you the right answer. So.
We'll let you slide as if like you had no other option. Like, hey, we would have killed you,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were. No, just kidding. But so growing up in Knoxville and things like that, how does that impact just kind of who you are and what you grew up listening to and things like that?
Man, I tell people all the time. I was actually telling somebody earlier, like, Knoxville is a bizarre country market where, like, dude, you'll have some guys that I'm sure you've heard of, and like a lot of us country listeners or anybody around here have heard of, right? And they'll go and they'll sell at like the venue down there that I'm in with, and like I sell a lot of tickets at. I'm actually about to play there soon. Is the Cotton Eye Joe? It's in Knoxville, and people will come from all around that have like toured with national artists. Like, now this is openers, right? Like guys that are well known, but they're still not big. Kind of like my level or above, right? And they'll go there and they'll sell 50 tickets. I mean, dude, it's like a 1,500 at least cap. So it's a bizarre market, but hell, if you go there and you're a national like touring artist, you'll sell it out, or you'll at least sell like 1,500 tickets, 1,400 tickets. Like, you'll get close to like the sellout, right? Or if you're local, like, we sell a lot of tickets there. So it's weird with that aspect, but like being from Knoxville, like, there's nothing better. I know I always sell tickets there because, like, if you're from Tennessee or, like, if you're a Kentucky fan, like, Tennessee fans, you don't even have to be good at the sport. They will just die on that hill, And so, like, it's funny, like, not even involving the school. Like, that's how being from there is. It's just, like, I'm Knoxville. Like, I'm East. There's nothing better than East Tennessee. I don't ever want to leave. Like, it's the best place ever. Like, which is very cool, and like that helps with me with like a lot of the writing. Like, when I put some certain things in songs, like I know it's gonna hit because just like it's relatable. It's like I know how me and my buddies are. I know how people are when I go to fraternities out there and play, or I go to a show out there, and just like locals love to hear that stuff. So that, like, being from there definitely impacted the way I write things, you know, and like all that. But musically, you know, like, it's a bizarre town. Like I said, because there is a college, like, it's not the most country market you would think it is, but there's obviously a massive country market. Like, if Morgan Wallen goes and plays there, he's also a local guy. Like, it's going to sell out. You know, if Riley Green goes and plays there, like, he played there the night I opened for John Langston, and we had a good crowd at the Tennessee Valley Fair last year. But then, like, the next night or two, like, Riley Green, he's blown up now. He's on country radio and national as hell, and it sells out in pre-sale. You know, so like, you do that, great, but like, man, it's just crazy. Like, you can be a really well-known country artist and you're not from there, and you might go there and sell like a couple hundred tickets. It's just weird. I've not even figured it out, and I'm from there. But I mean, I'm just lucky that I got a bunch of family and friends. Like, ever since I started music, like, that's where my, like, pocket of people is like, oh, you know, I could put out the worst song ever, and those people would be like, oh, I love that guy. You know, like, that's just how they are.
Well, but you're not putting out the worst songs ever. You're putting out some good songs, and you talked about it too. You know, you kind of grew up on classic country. You know, what were some of your influences growing up? I mean, was it? I'm guessing it wasn't all country. I'm guessing it was probably. I dated myself the other day. I said my iPod had a shuffle button, and it could be any genre. It could be Eminem, and then, like, you know, old school, you know, Elvis song or something.
Totally, man. Like, I listened to everything growing up. I mean, anything from, like, George Jones to, like you said, Eminem to, like, my dad got me on Eminem's band D12, you know, like, some stuff like that, onto, like, gosh, anything, Alan Jackson. Like, I mean, it was definitely majority country, right? But I got to one point, like, especially like in the middle school era, like, I didn't listen to country at all. You don't think it's cool when you're playing sports and all this stuff, and you're like, it's not cool, blah, blah. You're a young kid, and, like, you think everything else is cooler than that. So then you also, I mean, I remember listening to a bunch of, like, Drake, a bunch of, especially, like, early high school, like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, like, those kinds of guys, like J. Cole, rap, Rick Ross. Hell, I still listen to Rick Ross sometimes. I'm trying to get hype, you know, so.
I was going to say, you're making me feel old. I was listening to, like, DMX and Outkast in middle school and high school.
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, like, all those guys, too. Easy. Like, I listen to all that. My dad's into all that music, so he was, he helped me get to, like, he doesn't just listen to country. So he got me on a bunch of songs that, like, I would have never known, obviously, being in my generation, like, knowing some, like, Eminem or D12 deep cuts, you know. I wasn't just listening to, my name is what? My name, you know, like, that, there was all sorts of stuff going on. But, no, it was definitely a wide spectrum. But definitely the roots, like I said earlier, like, country. Like, I don't, in my opinion, like, you just can't beat, like, I love George Jones, Alan Jackson, Randy Travis. Like, that's kind of my wheelhouse of, like, if I'm trying to vibe on some old country, those are my dudes. Tracy Lawrence, you know, those guys.
It's hard to beat the classics. I mean, if we're being honest. Now you mentioned that you played sports. I know you went to Cumberland University and you played baseball. I mean, if this didn't work out, were you going trying to go the MLB route? Was that the other alternative?
Dude, honestly, in my mindset at the time, just because that's kind of how the kind of person I am, I try to do anything like 100%. So of course I'm sure I was aiming for that. I definitely don't think I could have done it, you know, but, you know, I give everything 110%. Like, that's what I was doing. And then, you know, kind of got into music, like, through college. Like, got redshirted my sophomore year after we'd already been doing some, like, random music videos in the dorm. Not music videos, just, like, acoustic videos, putting them out, you know, on social media, like covers. But started doing that, and then, you know, I came back sophomore year, I got redshirted, I kind of getting more and more to music, like, people on campus are starting to dig it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, like, people are, like, liking it. Of course, now when I go back and, like, hear a video, you know, when you see, like, your Facebook memories pop up, you're like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. So I try to do my best, like, delete it, and of course I'll see, like, my mom shared it. My mom, don't share that. Don't share that, like, delete that. So, but no, I mean, definitely when I was in baseball, you know, I gave it my all. I don't know if it was MLB route, but definitely trying to be the best I could be.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, you know, obviously things happen for a reason, and for whatever reason, it kind of led you down the music path. When did you know that was something that you were like, okay, let's give this 110% because you got to. I mean, it's a grind and it's a journey.
Yeah, during my sophomore year, like I said, when I found out I was going to redshirt, you know, I go home for Christmas break, just like everybody knows when they're in college. You get a good little month to do that. And I go home to Knoxville, and there's this little bar that allows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I think it is. I've not been there forever. Probably, I've not been there since I did this, but we go check out, and they allow like open mic night. And so I was going to go do that during the break. I was like, man, I've been doing this in the dorm. I was like, I should try to go get on the stage somewhere and do this thing. So, and I wasn't playing guitar. I still don't play guitar on my shows, but I can play a little bit. And brought my guy that's like was playing with my buddy at college. He came into town. I was like, hey, let's go do this. And they were like, we're actually filled up on Wednesday for, open mic. However, we're trying to fill out a lineup for Friday night, and it's not an open mic, it's more of a set. And they're like, we need to fill the headliner. And of course, my dumb ass is like, yeah, man, I'd love to do that. We've never done that in my life. I'm excited though. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And this place is tiny. And so I tell the guys that are playing guitar for me, hey, boys, we're playing a set. And of course, I've never written a song at this point. This is like I said, probably this is like the end of 2017 going into 2018. And I tell them, and they're kind of freaking out, but we're also hyped. We're like, hey, we're going to play a show, So we learn like 10 covers, and I invite everybody out I know in Knoxville. And, dude, we go play this thing, and it's packed. Like, it's just awesome. And, like I said, 10 covers, barely even know them, And apparently, like, there was all sorts of, like, underage drinking, like, all sorts of shit where these people did not ever want us back ever again. And I've never heard from them since then. And of course, like, now I think, like, in a year, if I hit them up, they'd be like, oh, we'd love to have you. They might be like that now. I don't know, but I'm never going to hit them up. But anyways, long story short, that turned the page. And then, like, there's also this bar where Cumberland is. It's called Cahoots, and it's the only bar in that town, but it's an awesome honky-tonk where they get some, like, legends to come play there. And I had a lot of friends that were close to the owner, and they kind of convinced me, hey, Hayden does music. And once again, like, it was that, I guess that would have been April, because it was towards the end of the year. So April, right before school ended for my sophomore year, and I played a little show there. Once again, all covers. I mean, and once again, another set. But I did full band, and this was my first full band gig. I don't even think we rehearsed. I didn't know any better. And we sold a couple hundred tickets there. I mean, it's only like a 500-something cap, but it was still cool. And then, like, after those two things, and I also went and saw Luke Combs that year, like, at the Ryman Auditorium, and I came out, and I was already thinking about quitting baseball. At first, I was so schedule-oriented. Like, I was like, man, I don't really want to quit school. And what's crazy is my parents were both, like, very supportive of that. Like, they were like, hey, like, if you're going to chase it, Because they were like, hey, I'd rather you go do it. Because my whole idea was like, I'm going to quit baseball. I'm going to quit Cumberland. I'm going to go to MTSU, which is in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee State. I was like, I'm going to go there, study some music, and also play shows. And like I remember going to like orientation or whatever with my mom. They're giving this speech, and like both my parents have already been like, you're not going to be able to do this and do music full time. And so they're already convincing me, like the teachers are. Like I'm like trying to tell them, like, hey, I'm just trying to do this many, and like they're forcing me to do this. And finally in the middle, I just end up walking out. I'm like, Mom, you ready to go to lunch? She's like, I told you. We do that. And like, well, I've been lucky to have parents that supportive to be like, we believe that you can do this, But the thing is, we don't want you to waste our money going to school. They had a great GPA coming out of Cumberland. They're like, hey, if you need to go back, but don't waste our money. Never go to class, and then try to do music on the side. Music's always, or school's always going to be there. Music's not, And so we try to do that, and obviously didn't end up going to school. Started chasing music, and threw it out there, and now we're seeing what's happening.
Well, I was going to say you're like I said, you're throwing out some good stuff. I even before I asked to have you on, I've been listening to music. I know, and I didn't realize this until I was looking things up. I was like, oh, he's got a new song coming out.
Yeah,
and that's Good Old Boys. You want to talk about that? Because from what I've heard, it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, it's pretty much the most simple song I've ever written. Like, it's just like there's no message at all except, hey, this song's for all the good old boys out there. That's really all it is, man. And we wrote this song, and I wrote it with my buddies Ethan Eskew and Drake Freeman, and we probably wrote it in 45 minutes. Like, no shit. It was really quick, and we did the music video for it pretty recently, and it's super fun. And it's just country rock, man. It's our show opener now at our shows. So if anybody's listening, hit the link in any of my social media bios and please save it on Spotify, pre-order it on iTunes. We're trying to get that thing to chart real high, so we'll see what happens. But it seems like on social media people are liking it.
I was gonna say, I mean, because you just recently started playing it too, like kind of and what was the reaction then? Because I feel like is that nerve-wracking when you're debuting kind of a song that you're pretty like you're like, this is good, but I got to see what other people think.
Definitely, man. And like, it's weird in this like day and age of like TikTok and all that. You're kind of pretty much like, if you're independent like I am, like I get to call the shots, which is, it's a blessing and a curse. You know, I've caught obviously a lot of right shots because I've been growing a lot real recently. But you know, it's always like, hey man, if you're gonna debut this song, it's like a lot of it's a trick. It's like, hey, what do y'all think of this song? And you're sitting here like, I've already recorded this. I've already made the video. So like, you got to kind of force it. You're forcing like, hey, what do y'all think of this? You know, comment if you like it. You know, it doesn't do well. You're like, all right. And then you post it again. Hey, what do y'all think of this song? Just wrote it. Like, you keep doing that because you're sitting like, damn, I've already recorded it. So I hope y'all blow it up and I hope you like it because the recorded version of the music video is really sick. But we really need you guys to like it.
Well, I can't wait till it drops. And you know, two of my favorites that you put out are Better Off and Here to Drink. They're still on my playlist to this day. And I've removed a lot off the one, and they're on there.
I appreciate that.
So can you talk a little bit about those? I mean, was Better Off personal experience, or was that someone else's personal experience?
Man, it was actually somebody else's personal experience. One of the writers in the room brought that idea, and of course, me and the other guy were like, "Dude, we got to write that like now." He already had like a couple lines in the first verse. Like he tore out of that driveway, pedal to the floorboard, told me you were done, like that. And I was like, oh shoot, like vibing already. I was like, but this chorus like has to slap. Like if we're gonna do that kind of like chill deal there. Yeah, and then Better Off is just one of those songs. I mean, like it's still a monster. Like for me on my level, you know, like dude, it gets streamed like the minimum like 18,000 times a day just on Spotify alone. Like it's not even slowed down at all. And music video, I'm sure if you've done some research on it, like the music video has gone crazy. Like it's over 4.6 million. It's not even been out for a year. You know, like it's been out for like 6 months. So that song has definitely changed my life and like changed a lot of things for me, like opening doors, just because like it kind of took me to another level of like, hey, you have a song that's like kind of viral as hell. Like, yeah. So that was cool. And then Here to Drink was when I was first starting, man, and I really liked it. Just wrote it with my buddies that we usually write in songs. But like looking back on it, like if you look in the real grand scheme of like how modern music is, the song's a little too long for a drinking song and all this technical stuff. But you know, it's good for what it is, man. It's kind of organic, like Hayden Coffman first starting out music. So, and people still really like it. It's still in my top 5 on Spotify, and people sing it at our shows, and so. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a saying I always like. It's always easy at shows. Like, hey, who's here to drink? You know, I am. And we play that song, and people usually like it. So it's not as much of a monster as Better Off, but it's definitely hung around. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, Better Off. Just the chorus, everything. I mean, it's hard to really beat that. And then I was even just I was looking through music the other day, and I realized Chase Matthews had released his album, and I was like, oh shit, Hayden's that song, Raised in the Holler. How was it with Chase and recording that one?
Man, it's great. I was so honored that he wanted me to be on the album, and we've been buddies for a couple years now, and he started blowing up with County Line, and then we got in touch and. Again, about like maybe doing a song together, and we just wrote like half a song, and then right before his album like needs to be turned in, this dude calls me on like the Friday after Thanksgiving and is like, "Hey man, I want to finish that song. I want to put it on the album." And I'm sitting here like I'm in East Tennessee at my parents. I'm like, "Well, dude, I'm not in Nashville. Like I can't finish it right now." And like my parents don't even have Wi-Fi. You know, like we're out in the middle of nowhere. Like we're in the sticks. But we ended up finishing that song, and then, like, after we finished the song, I'm like, oh, it's a banger, and we recorded it and everything. I was like, that's really heavy. Like, it's like some Metallica country. Like, it's pretty rocking. And then he texts me, like, a week before, or a couple weeks before it comes out. He's like, hey, man, this song's going to be the first out of 12 on the record. And I'm like, Shit, that's awesome. It's the first song on the album because I knew he's just blowing up so much right now. I knew it was going to go number one on iTunes, and I was like, dude, we're the number one song on the number one album on country iTunes charts right now, and it charted on Billboard at like number 30, and I was like, that's freaking sick, you know. So it was cool that he had me on that, and cool enough. Like, I've not told anybody this, but I'll say it on this podcast. We actually did we have a deal with him, so we're like. I was on that, so he's actually going to be on one of my songs here in the next few releases. I'm going to release ours as a single, so I think it'll blow up and do real well. But, yeah, to answer your question, man, it was really cool to be on that. And Chase is the man, and he's obviously killing it, selling out places, all that stuff.
That is awesome, and I love it when you drop a little bit here, and it's a little bit of a tease too. That's even better, leaving them wanting more. When you're writing songs, or even just being on someone's song, I mean, where are you drawing your kind of you drawing on past experiences, just an idea? I mean, what's the inspiration behind a song?
Man, like when like personal experiences, like writing songs, all it is, like for me, is like if I hear something that's really catchy, I'll write it down, or if I'm feeling something, I'll write it down. All that kind of stuff. But what's cool about co-writing, which is like the main thing that happens in Nashville, and like it's just the most probably successful way. If you want to be really successful and well known, you need to branch out and meet some guys. Even if it's not, you don't have to write with everybody and their brother. You don't have to write with even a hit songwriter. Just like find your crew, and we'll pitch ideas around, and it depends on what everybody's feeling that day. And it's like, hey, if that clicks with everybody, let's roll with that. And then we'll get a little guitar part, or if you're working with what they call a track guy, which he has a beat and stuff already on his laptop or desktop if you're at his studio. Then you roll with that. But that's kind of how it starts. I mean, obviously all the ideas are either like very relatable to that guy that brought it up, or say he thought it would be relatable to somebody in the room. Like a lot of people that write with me, they're trying to get a cut off my song. Like they're trying to write a song for me, which is cool. But I've also been in the position, like, dude, when we were writing that song for Chase, or with Chase, me and him didn't know who was going to cut it, I was down to be writing on it, and I was like, hey, man, if you want to cut it, cut it. And he's like, no, I want you to be on it. And I was like, let's roll, I'm cool with that. It just depends, because you also, as an artist, so I know he's the same way. It's like, you're going to be on a song, you want to make sure you dig it. As an artist, you can like a song as a writer, be like, hey, that's good for you. I would not cut that. But I'm glad to be a part of it. So that's also another weird obstacle to jump through, and that's a weird line to balance. Being like, I dig that song a lot, I just wouldn't cut it, Or opposite, if you're in the right, like this guy might not be liking it, and he's like not even feeling the song. Be like, hey, dude, this is what I would say. We finished this thing today. Like, I'm gonna cut this thing because I think this would be a banger, and this would be popping on TikTok, So I
love it. Because it's true. Because, I mean, different people see things differently. And,
totally.
and even though it's your words, it may fit someone else better. I talk to some folks, and sometimes they write a song that's not country at all, but, it pops off on, like pop, boy band pop, something like that. You just never know.
I mean, like, guys like George Strait and Elvis are the best examples. They never wrote songs for themselves. Somebody else did, and clearly it worked. So I mean, that stuff, that's just how it goes. Music's a weird animal, man.
I mean, hell, Johnny Cash took a poem and made it a hit song.
Literally, I mean, it's just crazy. You never know. You literally just never know how it's gonna pop up. Like I said, with like a song like "Good Old Boys," like it's super simple, and we were just having. It was the second song we wrote that day. We were just having fun. We started off, and the first line of the song was like, "Where my truck stop, map dot, cold beer sippers." Like, we were just drinking beer, and like we were just joking around, like walking around, like hat sideways, like joking around. And I was sitting there like, dude, that would actually, even though it sounds country as hell, like, that'd be a cool way to start a show. And they were like, let's just write it, man. And we did it, and it was like 40 minutes. Like, you literally never know, because like it's super easy in the songwriting world, just like it is in any world possible in the business world, to overthink everything. Sometimes you just gotta roll with it, man.
Well, and then you have those that, from 45 minutes to, like 3 years you're working on, because you're like, it's still a good idea, I just can't get it right.
Totally, man. I mean, that's the thing. Luckily, I've not been doing it long enough to even have that kind of experience, but I've met guys that like have number one songs, and they're like, yeah, we've had the verses for 3 years, then the chorus just fell into place one day, and we pitched it to name the guy, you know, Al Dean, Cole Swindell, whoever it is, and I was like, yeah, it went number one. Like, I'm sitting here like, dude, that just shows me you've been doing this a lot longer than me. I got to step my game up. I've never had just badass verses sitting around being like, I hope a chorus falls out of the sky. You know? Like, that just doesn't happen. But, hey, hopefully it does one day, you know.
I mean, it takes all kinds, and it also sounds like, you know, you got some new music coming out. I mean, is an album coming soon? What can we look forward to on some new music that you're allowed to say on the record?
Yeah. Dude, like I said, luckily I'm independent, so I can say anything, man. I'll tell y'all anything. But, like, luckily, my goal, besides this song, Good Old Boy, is obviously coming out. I would love to drop probably 4 more this year, 3 more this year, depending on. I've got a couple other, I can't mention yet, but a couple other cool collaborations coming up with other artists that are well known in the independent world. I'm definitely sure that, I know one guy is definitely y'all have heard of, but definitely like 4 music videos, 4 singles, all that stuff. Like, we're going to be killing YouTube, like all sorts of videos and all that. So definitely going to do that. And then I'm hoping next year, like what I would love to do if like just a straight power move after all the songs I've been putting out, they've been doing pretty solid as singles, is to put everything together. And I'd love to drop some huge album. Like, say I put out these 4 singles at least, maybe 5 this year, and I put out 3 last year, that'd be 8 songs, but then add like another 8. Like, hey, here's a 16-song album, let's blow the damn thing up. But we'll see. I'm just kind of working on it. I'm trying to make all these singles blow up to where I can justify dropping an album, being independent, just because the whole game right now is like doing singles. You know, the only people that will listen to your album are diehard fans. But if I can build my fan base up to where I'm like, hey, I get to the end of this year, like I can justify, like, hey, we will pre-order this thing, make it go number 1 on iTunes, which is not a number 1 on radio, but it still means a lot, you know. Make it do that, and enough people listening to it, I'll drop it, because I'd love to get a lot of these songs. I mean, I write songs every week, so I'd love to get a lot of them out that need the love, you know, or I just need to get off my phone and on the internet and start hearing them, you know.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, and you know, it's crazy because I've read stuff and just thinking back, you know, looking back. I mean, it's almost like we've gone back in time where singles are king, and that's where it is, especially with Spotify and things like that. But because of things like that, I mean, 10 years ago I might not have found a Hayden Coffman because, you know, independent radio doesn't happen, but you know, because of Spotify it does. And I also know you're going out on tour. Well, you're actually out on tour right now. You're out, I think, with Jacob Bryant, right? What's that like? Man,
it's been great. We've been playing some shows with Jacob Bryant, and
he had nice things to say about you when he was on.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, he's great, man. He's been like a mentor to me, and you know, I really respect everything he's done. He's been a part of a lot of cool stuff, and he's been in the game longer than me, but it's been a cool learning process, you know, just getting to learn like the do's and don'ts. Like, he's kind of getting to big brother me, like, hey, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you definitely don't need to be doing. And so it's been cool being on that train. He's been on tour with Cody Johnson, Co Wetzel, like big time people to be learning from. And so we've been blessed to have that opportunity, and it's been fun. And on top of being on tour with him, we're getting to do a lot of our own shows. Whenever me and him aren't playing together, I'm doing my own thing or whatever that is. So it'll be a cool growing year, on top of putting out hopefully some songs that change the spectrum once again.
I love to hear that. And like I said, when I had Jacob on earlier, he's like, I was my buddy Hayden Coffman, and you know, so I mean, because he's done some good stuff, so that's got to be praise. Feel good to hear other country artists that have been in the game for a little while saying good things about you.
Oh, dude, it's killer, man. And like every time we play a show together, like he is also the most like utmost respect of like if he's on stage. What I do after all my shows, if you ever get to come out to one or anybody on here listening, like I always go right immediately. I'm like, at the end of my set, I always end with Better Off right before my band like jams it out. I'm like, hey y'all, like thanks for having me. I'm gonna be over at that merch table. Love to meet everybody. So I stand there the whole night, and every time Jacob's on stage, like no matter what, he'll at least 2 or 3 times be like, hey, y'all give it up for my boy Hayden Coffman over there. Like just constantly just showing her just like utmost respect and trying to like make sure everybody in the team's winning and all that stuff. So it's definitely a cool experience being on the road with him.
And you touched a little bit on this. I guess this will be my last question, unless something just magically pops off after all the drinks I've had tonight.
Cheers.
Exactly. So anything else besides, just doing some shows, putting out some singles that folks can expect from you in 2022? More awesome TikToks?
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're not already, follow me on TikTok, Hayden Coffman Music. You're trying to see me act like a damn fool. But no, man, other than that, I'll be playing shows hopefully all over. We'll be in the Southeast. We'll be in the Southwest, hopefully up north a little bit. But yeah, catch me on the road. I'll be putting out new music, putting out TikToks. Big thing is subscribe to my YouTube channel because we're going to be blowing that up. Starting at the end of this month when we drop the music video for Good Old Boys. We're going to be putting out a video every month this year. So be all over that. I can't really think of anything else, man. Just constant content and seeing what we can do to grow the brand.
Okay, I did think of another question because you would think by now, doing this like 90 times of episodes, I would have all this information beside me. It doesn't happen. So I was like, oh crap, I forgot what his website was. So I typed in Hayden Coffman, and I forgot this.
No worries.
What's with all the different hairstyles? Because you've had a few different hairstyles.
Dude, that's crazy you say that. Me and my girlfriend were just talking about that yesterday. So, like, one thing I do is, like, I either go super long hair and don't cut it for a long time, but, like, when I cut this, it's not a trim. It's going to be off. Like, I don't do any in between. Like, I either grow it down my shoulders or I go bald fade on them. Like, there's no in between. So, I don't know. I'm just, like, I don't know if I'm mentally unstable or what, but I cannot stand having the same hairstyle all the time. Just how I am, man. My parents, like, they always let me having real long hair. Like, oh, you ain't wrong with long hair. Like, you're a musician. I'm like, y'all don't understand. It's annoying. Like, I got to wear a hat most of the time. And then,
it's work.
Yeah, it's work here. I would rather be able to, go take a shower before bed, comb my hair, and wake up, and my hair's barely messed up when I wake up. Maybe throw a little water, push it to the side, and I'm ready to roll, So, but yeah, that's the hairstyle thing. That's funny. That you're the first person in any interview that said that. I'm glad you noticed. Because, I noticed that, too. It makes it difficult in, our promo on some stuff to be like, hey, if I'm having this interview this day, you need to use these pictures. My hair's long right now. You can't use this. Like, I can't cut my hair at least until, quite a bit after this Good Old Boys music video comes out because my hair's long in it. But, by the summer, I guarantee you, if we talk before June, sometime in May, you're going to be able to see the skin on my head. I'm cutting it off.
Hey, and here's the funny part. You're not the first person I've ever asked that. And it's not because I'm I got hair, this is the same style all the time. But JD Shelburne, who's from Kentucky, he's had some funky looks. Like when you look at his single covers, he's had
fun. That's fun now.
He's had Billy Ray Cyrus long hair, and then he's got the big old poof comb over, and I'm like, what? What happened?
What are you doing?
Well, then I asked Tim Montana about his beard. I was like, what would happen if anything, would you cut it off? He goes, my wife would kill me. And I'm like,
if he cut his beard off?
Yeah, if he ever, because she says he needs to keep it. So you just never know. So, I mean, how long have you had the beard? Have you been rocking that for a long time?
Dude, probably since I was like, hey, I'm not skinny enough to go clean shaven. I'm like, I got to rock a little beard here. I don't know how long I've had it. Let's see. At least 2 years. Always having a beard. Now I do, even last night I was because I'm like I said, I'm drastic with haircuts and stuff. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Today I want to go cut my hair, bald fade, shave my face, then leave a stash and just curl it, But I was like, I can't do that. I'm sure I'm double chinning it. I can't. It's not a good look on the road, But I was thinking about going, what do they call it? Full blown, Peaky Blinders, I need a top hat, I need a full suit, whatever thing.
I like that. I have this because my wife dared me to grow facial hair, and I was like, I like it. And she goes, me too. Don't let go of it. And I was like, sounds good.
It was a good test that turned into a permanent deal there.
Yeah, because I have shaved it before, and it's. I mean, I got like a baby face, and it isn't right now. Granted, this is really long for me because I can like comb it over, but yeah, no, I totally get it, and I appreciate. See, I knew I might find another question. I blame it all on this.
Hey, it's the whiskey, man. Like I'm telling you, once you have the beard for a minute and you shave your face, because I've done it. I did it during quarantine because I was like, I'm not gonna have to see anybody for a while. And I didn't even do straight shave. I just did the buzz, just like with the electric. And like you don't even recognize yourself. Like at first, I'm like, dude, is my chin really that close to my mouth? Like, is it that short, a little area there? Like, I thought I had a little more, length going on here. That was the beard. I was like, I need to get this. I need to get something to cover me up. That's back when I should have been wearing a mask all the time just to cover that actually. But no. Once you go beard, it's tough to go back unless you get a real chiseled jawline. We can work on that though. Chew a lot of gum.
I don't have that. There's no chance of that. but Hayden, this has been a blast, folks. Good Old Boys coming out soon. If you haven't pre-save it, and if you're listening to this later on, check it out. Also check out other songs of his because I love them. HaydenCoffman.com, and also find him on social media. Hayden, this was a blast, dude. I appreciate it.
Dude, Jonathan, thanks for having me, man. Y'all make sure to keep listening to all these episodes.